All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Let's see if it's local or city search. Well, actually, they're both combined here. Have BSS, yes or no? And we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star weapon of choice is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More info on that, pin video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph actually in white here. Highest intent people on the left, these people using social search, Google search, they're searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Focused on talking about these peeps. When we're talking about BSS videos here. Way over on the right, these are the lowest intent peeps. They ain't searching for boudoir, and they basically have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. Talk about that on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And right now we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, boudoir search sameness BSS is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots is bad because that means 0 slots page 1 means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And this is a recipe for our business to be dying super fast. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good either. But it's not good enough because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. We got 1 slot that says there's 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. Nobody's standing out. So what's a buyer doing? They're clicking down everyone's website, opening up everyone's, contact form, filling out every contact form, getting a quote from everyone, getting, price shopping and the best deal for them, wasting everyone's time, blah, 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 blah. So we never want to have BSS boudoir search sameness. In both scenarios, yeah, we'll get contact forms if we got 1 slot, but like most of those people ain't going with us. It's only a 10% chance to go with us. So, just kind of real frustrating. That leads to the business dying as well. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google search is actually not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are A, market saturation. Basically everyone knows what that is. Simply more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. And when that happens, people getting new iPhones or new cameras, they enter the marketplace. They're throwing up their Google Maps profile saying they do boudoir photography. They're throwing up their website saying they're now a boudoir photographer. They're posting them on mom groups on Facebook saying they do boudoir photo shoots. And that's more sellers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder and harder for every seller to make a sale and kind of get those clients. Also happened in a big way with COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, forced a lot of people, well, they still need to earn money. They still got to go get money. And so everyone's got a super powered smartphone with ultra camera. So easiest thing for them to do, become boudoir photographers. Now, the false face belief of page 1 inequality, that one's new. And as a result, we actually, this is where boudoir photographers actually originally believed that, kind of just automatically believe without even questioning, kind of that every boudoir photographer gets either 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google. But that's how, let's say they're on slot 9, page 1, slot 9 with their website. Some market saturation, now they're on page 2, slot 3, and they're kind of like, well, that's simply how it happens. And hopefully those peeps that are now ranking me, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will pull me back up on page 1. But no, this is a 100% incorrect thought. This is the, let it happen to me thought. We actually want to be, let's make it happen thought, which is what I did. I actually went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we invented. And, proving that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, because we actually learned Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So again, BSS, boudoir search sameness, 0-1 slots, page 1 Google search. And if we got 0 slots, then we are, basically we're disappearing or invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot on page 1, we're still basically invisible. There's only really only a 10% chance someone's going to convert on us compared to everyone else. So both disappearing boudoir photographers make us disappearing boudoir photographers. And it's kind of like the warning light, the flashing flag, the whatever, the canary in the coal mine, that our boudoir photography business is now on the path to disappearing as well. But thankfully, we've discovered the solution to this S-cubed methodology. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there. And what that acts as is basically like the snow up at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America, snow on the eastern side, the backside of those Andes Mountains. And what happens is, that snow melts over time. The water flows into small streams, small rivers. But eventually all that melted snow collects down into the Amazon River. And that's page one Google search, the Amazon River. So basically everything, all this social search saturation stuff we do actually then flows onto page one of Google search if we do execute our SQ methodology correctly. And what's interesting about this, it's the only solution for boudoir photographers I've seen that actually allows them to increase the, actually gives them a chance to still grow the business in the face of massive market saturation, and gives them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen that gives that same benefit is having a large, well-known brand, but we all know that takes like 5 to 10 years to build. And so that doesn't satisfy our relatively quick criteria. We need the relatively quick criteria because, dude, AI's here. AI is taking people's jobs. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a brand. Ultra market saturation is coming for boudoir photographers. We gotta basically fortify ourselves before that happens. And an example here, actually 2 other things. First interesting thing is SQ methodology. It's just the way it works, allowing us to show up with such a high frequency on so many different surfaces. My estimate is it actually enables a large, well-known brand to be built 8x faster than normal conventional methods. So it's kind of like utilize SQ methodology for initial wins, get a brand in the future, and then imagine if you get a large, well-known brand and you continue to use SQ methodology in the future. I mean, you're basically going to be unbeatable. Now, one example here, we're going to say we are in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota, and the Twin Cities. And there's 1 million boudoir photographers there. And with those 1 million boudoir photographers, we are one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website, trying to rank page one on Google. Ultra competition. And as a result, we're like, well, we ain't got no large brand. And we ain't got time to create a brand. So our only shot here to compete is utilizing SQ methodology. And so, dude, let's say we super crank this thing, this SQ methodology, and we take the first 300 slots, page one on Google search, or first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across social search, and then those flow onto, say allows us to take up the first 300 slots, page one on Google search, and it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so we're taking out the first 30 pages. So guess what? Anyone in our city is actually, is actually searching anywhere, social search or Google search for boudoir photo shoot, boudoir photographer, whatever, the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, we're basically the only one they're going to be finding, even though our market's ultra saturated. And so whose business is going to be growing during this time? Most likely ours. And whose business is going to be declining and like dying? Most likely the 999,999 other boudoir photographers in the city. And so, this is kind of a interesting example of what SQ methodology could enable, kind of at the ultra extreme end. But hey, finally, we got a shot here. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And initial benefit, yeah, more slots, page one Google search. That's cool. The other initial benefit, every new slot we get a page one Google search, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. A lot of boudoir photographers love this one. Basically, can push their competitors to page two and deeper, and effectively making them visible to approximately 80% of searches, invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which, I mean, this is an awesome initial benefit. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. And this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting the 3 out of 10 minimum, 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google search minimum, because basically everyone else can have one slot. If we got 3, we're dominating them. And the ultra rare range, someone has 2 slots on page 1. Well, we're going to have 3. We're still dominating them. So 3, 3 out of 10, and that 3 out of 10 minimum is really the best for all scenarios. Obviously, it's the best to get even higher, but 3 out of 10 is kind of the minimum where we want to get to. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. People thought they simply had to accept having 0 and 1 slots page 1 on Google. 100% incorrect. We now know that. We developed a solution to S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, my results now utilizing S-cubed methodology. For myself, I wanted to take over page 1 on Google for this search term, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cubed methodology to see my results. And let's see, so we got Instagram, organic slot 1, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I search for this. Who are they going with? Who are they clicking on? Obviously me. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So these are my results I got utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, we're here for the main event. We're going to check and see, is this boudoir photography business at BSS for its search? It's local and its city search combined in this one. I think we're in like a small town, small city. See if we hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1, Google page 1 slots. All right, so we're going to Aberdeen, North Carolina. All right, nice. Let's see. Aberdeen, Maysville. Nope, we ain't searching for that. All right, nope. Had that. Nope. Here we go. We got one. Oh, she's in North Carolina and NYC. Okay. Okay, we got 1 out of 10. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. And since we got 1 out of 10, we got BSS for this local/city search, and we also did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you do the local search for yourself, you do the city search for yourself, you realize, you got BSS in one or both places, or you're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search for either local or city or both. And you actually, now, since we put into words that page 1 equality belief, you're like, oh yeah, that is false. I didn't really think about it. There wasn't really a word or phrase for it before. So I don't know, I didn't really think about it at all. But now, since we got a name for it, oh yeah, that thing's definitely false. I definitely see, we can take as many slots as we want. And you understand the market saturation, the 3 prongs. 1, people get new phones. 2, people get new cameras. And then you're also foreshadowing, you have the foresight to see the third one, which is AI is taking way more people's jobs, more and more over time. And as that happens, more and more boudoir photographers are going to be forced to enter the market, becoming boudoir photographers, because they already got a phone, man. They already got a phone. And they've heard boudoir photography is high ticket. There's going to be more and more boudoir photographers entering the market, and you already know that because everyone already has a phone, a good powered iPhone, or good powered phone with a camera. So there'll be more sellers, boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers. But you also know that S-cubed methodology will allow you to fortify your position Google page 1 and kind of prevent those new boudoir photographers from ever getting on page, those new entrants that come from AI taking people's jobs and still to earn money. They actually, are actually made to kind of like putting up levees for New Orleans has levees to keep the ocean out because it's below ocean sea level. Kind of like fortifying your levees, dominate as much as you can, take as much page 1 as you want with using S-cubed methodology. Because you see the big tsunami of boudoir photographers is going to be coming into the market as a result of AI. And so you see S-cubed methodology is the one path forward to solve BSS and prevent, your position from eroding on page one, and actually take as many positions on page one as you want. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer, and you want to achieve boudoir search visibility because you need that on your way to become the number one boudoir photographer in your city. And in addition, you actually want the other two bonuses, back-end bonuses. One, which is, as we execute S-cubed methodology, we're actually kind of building up thematic keyword columns attached to our brand. And as we build those up, build up the history, build up the thematic keyword strength and relevance connected to our brand, our website, our social profiles, then what actually happens is we increase the probability. Up here, we are shown as the only slot, the premium slot, the only one recommendation here in the AI overview. And that's premium placement. So every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability of this. And also, in parallel, in the back end, every day we execute methodology, we're increasing the probability AI apps, AI search apps recommend us. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. We are increasing the probability these AI search engines rank us because we're building out these back-end thematic columns of keywords through using S-cubed methodology to, yes, saturate social search, yes, rank page one on Google, yes, kick out our competitors from page one on Google, essentially making them invisible to the bulk of the market, the approximately 80% that never even hit page two on Google. And yes, higher chance we get ranked AI overview at the top. And yes, higher chance we get ranked and pushed AI search. And last time I searched for boudoir photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and it only displayed 3 to me. Literally 3 in that city had 60 or somewhere around there. So you want all these benefits, and you also know that you want to become a first mover in your city because for every day you execute methodology and all these benefits, fortifying your position of the oncoming AI, forced boudoir photographers entering the market, building up the back-end momentum for being recommended in AI overview and AI search apps. And every day we build that more and more and more. You're putting more and more space between you and all the other boudoir photographers currently in your city and in the city in the future, where they would have to do so much to catch up. It'd basically be impossible. So many people simply stop competing. And on the flip side, if some other boudoir photographer in the city were to work with me instead, because my plan right now is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you would have to rederive S-cubed methodology on your own. And you wouldn't even know if you derived it correctly to even execute it correctly. And then you'd be having to go execute, and you wouldn't be confident because you wouldn't know if you derived it correctly. So you'd have to go ahead and execute. And if you equaled our execution, our volume of execution with your competitor, you would simply maintain the gap between us that would already have been created. And to pass us, you'd have to derive it correctly, execute it correctly, and probably double our execution every single day in order to surpass the progress, close the gap and then pass us with the progress and momentum we would already made and kind of pull back that back end AI search momentum from us, pull back the AI overview momentum for us. It's basically who's got the time. Dude, there's only 24 hours a day. Who's got the time to do all that? So you decided, hey, you're going to be the first mover. So if that's in your city, really set yourself up for success. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are closed right now. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients, but when I am accepting new patients, shoot me a DM and we'll ask you some questions. We'll see if you qualify for the S-cubed methodology.